At Relentless Digital, we believe in breaking barriers and driving innovation. That's why we are extremely proud to sponsor the Power Women of the Trades podcast, supporting the voices and success of women in the home service industry. Together, we're creating a future where talent shines, regardless of gender, and diversity thrives. Join our journey at relentless-digital.com and always be relentless in your pursuit of excellence.
This episode of Power Women of the Trades is also brought to you by Forrest Perry of Forrest Perry Digital Marketing. Want to generate more leads for your service business? Trust his team to deliver quality new customer leads and protect your brand online. Check out perrymarketing.com today.
Hello everyone. We want to give a quick shout out to our amazing partner, Rilla, the game changer in the home service industry. Rilla's virtual ride-along software means no more physical ride-alongs. With Rilla, you can coach your team virtually 100 times faster and boost your close sale rates like never before. Don't miss out. Join the movement today and watch your sales soar. Visit rilla.com/PWT to learn more.
Welcome to Power Women of the Trades podcast. This show is all about breaking barriers and changing the game. Our guests will feature some of today's most successful female entrepreneurs and other advocates of our industry as well. Because if there's one thing we know for sure, female-led entrepreneurship drives change on multiple levels. We want to empower women in the trade industry like you so you can maximize your potential, stay balanced, achieve long-term success, and claim ownership over your life. Let's get started.
Welcome back to Power Women of the Trades podcast with Cassie and Heather. Today we have Hannah Webb with us, and this is going to be a really fun episode because Hannah is the director of plumbing and electric for Quality Heating, Cooling, Plumbing and Electric, which is the company that I own and Heather works at as well. And so it's going to be a good episode. So excited to just share Hannah's story. And there's just so many lifelong connections here. There's a lot to unpack here.
Good morning, Hannah. It's so awesome to have you on our show.
Good morning, guys. Thanks for having me.
Excited. So let's take it back real quick. Anyone who knows me and has listened to the show or just knows me knows that a long time ago, I worked for Best Buy. And now we have 10 people here that work Best Buy.
We do have a lot.
And I stand firm. Anyone listening, if you ever interview someone that worked at Best Buy from 2003 to 2015.
Yeah, that's fair.
Not that anyone after that's not great. I just can't speak to those people. But 2003 to 2015, Best Buy had a lot of training that we all went through that is very close to a lot of the training that we do now in our businesses that there's a lot of similarities, right?
Yes. It was an easy transition.
So it was an easy
Best Buy to
transition.
Quality.
100%. And so anytime I interview someone, I'm like, you remember this sales model? That's basically what we do.
There's
This is wild.
in that Minnesota water.
Yes, because we're Next Star. And Next Star is in Minnesota, and Best Buy was headquartered in Minnesota. And there has to be something that correlates there. We're not sure. We haven't really figured that out. But anyway, so Hannah worked at Best Buy with me back in the day.
It was my first real job.
Was it?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So it's funny because me and Hannah always say we used to work like dogs for $7.50 an hour.
That was true. I started at $7.50.
And what'd you do at Best Buy?
I started out as front end. I was a cashier, and then I moved to merchandising. I love merchandising. I had to earn my spot on the merch team. And then I did a lot of operations things, from the cash office to traveling around with project team, remodeling stores, to running inventory, asset protection.
So what's crazy about this story is she knows her stuff in warehousing and merchandising. So that's what I recruited her for originally. And so you were here, I recruited, at that point you were working for a different big box retailer, and she was doing project management type things there, right?
I was the install manager.
Yeah. So, which I knew that, but when we needed someone at Quality, I needed a warehouse manager. And so I sought after recruiting her for that, and she came in, interviewed, and you did that, and you were amazing at that. How long were you a warehouse manager?
About 2.5 years. And then you guys realize I can push some numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can.
Crazy. Literally. Okay. Let's break this down.
I remember remember meeting Hannah right after you hired her in Vegas. We were in Vegas. Do you remember?
Mm-hmm.
It was in like October of 2021.
Yep.
Yes. Okay. It was like the Daikin.
Yes.
The Daikin trip. Okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah. We were not at the same conference, but we ran into each other.
Yeah. Okay. Before, way pre, you at Quality and all those things. Okay. So we were setting, she's been in our warehouse, and like this girl still to this day, I can walk over to her and be like, hey, and I can spit like a kind of model number at her, and she knows nomenclature. She knows like pricing or a close guesstimate, because like there's a difference in Hannah's price and Oscar Pound's price. I'm like, do not quote anything, because he hasn't done that in so long. And so even I haven't either. Like, I just don't know. I know our pricing has gone up through COVID and blah, 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 right? But like, he'll say something and I'm like, that changed like a lot. He's like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
But that's not what we focus on day to day. So anyways, you did great doing our warehouse stuff. You came over here. Back whenever I originally recruited you, we were still doing multifamily new construction. So there was a lot to manage back then.
There was a lot. We had 2 different projects going on.
And then all the residential stuff. And Hannah would be like, I'm drowning. And I'm like, it's fine. You're going to be fine. I need another person. We don't have that in the budget. So it really was like best mate.
That's fair. That's very true.
Yeah, but Hannah, I have to say, you were so awesome at just rolling with the punches of, whatever comes down the pipeline. You're the first one to stand up and say, okay, we can do this. And you've got, that solid background where I think, coming into the warehouse and dealing with the difference in that between merchandising, it's kind of the same, honestly. It's very similar. But you always are like really ready to get up and just tackle whatever's on the docket for the day.
Yeah, she is for sure.
I just want to win.
I was just going to say that. And she always wants to win. She's like, I just want to win.
Yeah, she wants to win. And you would just really want Quality to win. And I always like appreciate that, because it doesn't really matter what she's over plumbing and electric, but she's always paying attention to everything. Just this weekend, we get a message and she's like telling us some HVAC plans. And I was like, okay, sounds great. It was great.
All the ducks in a row.
Keeping the ducks in a row. So, but okay, BPW, which is Business Planning Workshop, it was like 2023. We were planning for 24. Hannah was still a warehouse manager, and we had our coach on site. And I said, I wanted all managers to be in the meeting, no matter what department they were in, because when you're looking at building your budget, everybody should be involved and understand what role they play. Right. And so
it gives the why from the foundation of the budget. So everybody's on the same page.
And I think sometimes like other businesses kind of mess that up. They just keep it like this closed door. And we used to, because I just didn't know better. And so you don't know better till you learn better. And so we had been given that advice, and I was like, that makes sense. And so we had everybody in that meeting, and Hannah was just really like involved and asking questions. She was the warehouse manager, which I don't want anybody to think I'm saying you were just the warehouse manager, because that was never how we felt. However, in the middle of this meeting, this girl just like flips the script and is just like speaking our sales. And then she's like, guys, we had one moment where we really realized like what we had left on the table for that year. And she said, guys, it's literally just math. And I'm sitting there, and our coach at the time was Jeff. And I keep looking at him and he keeps looking at me. And I'm like, Hannah, why are you the warehouse manager? Like, what have we done? We boxed her up. We just said, like, I knew that was her experience. I knew that she could do the piece that we needed. And we just left her in that spot. But like, also at the same time, you never really applied for anything else either at that time. Yeah. We didn't have it. But I was like, you were in the wrong spot, lady. Like, completely. We didn't even have a spot, but I was like, boom, done. We need to hire a warehouse manager. When we leave this meeting, Hannah is now a sales type manager.
Immediately.
Literally immediately. And everyone's like, so what's her title? Call by call. Like, I was making it up as we went. All I knew at that point was we had her in the wrong position. She was making an impact where she had so much more of an impact to make, and we were going to figure it out.
And that's such an aha moment when, there's a moment that presents itself like that, and then you totally capitalize on it and are like, oh my gosh, we have this person in the wrong spot. And it's kind of eye-opening for everybody. Just like you said, you 100%. Realize you leave some money on the table, and Hannah's saying it's just math. And it's like, okay, well, what changes do we need to make for this year so that we can win? Again, like Hannah said.
Right.
It's the why, like knowing the why behind everything. I feel like it empowers people to be more involved and truly understand what we're striving for.
Right. It's like, and how many times you guys have probably heard me say, like, at the end of the day, whether you work for Quality or whether you go work somewhere else, the customers that you're going to are still the same. The houses that you're going to are still the same. The type of like work that you do and the environment environment that you're in, that's what's different, right? Like, and how you're treated, but understanding the big picture and not just like, oh, go run this call and you're just that, like really teaching the team all of it. That is a huge piece of like your team trusting you and understanding. And when I feel like we used to think we were transparent, but we just keep becoming more and more transparent.
And I think people appreciate it across the board. It also drives competition and the techs enjoy it as well, knowing what's going on.
Right, for sure. So,
well, that's the why for them too. If everybody knows what we're aiming for and why, then they understand why they're being directed in the way that they are.
We all say 100% a lot.
100%.
100%.
Respectfully.
So you were basically call by call, what's like a year?
Yeah.
A little over a year.
It was like a little less than a year.
Think? Yeah. A little less. Okay. And then I started making decisions of like, what for quality, I've always said we grow faster than our brains sometimes do. So we grow and then we were like, crap, we needed a process or we needed to do that a little bit differently. And there for a little bit, we had a lot of people doing kind of the same thing. And so we refocused. And so Hannah's position now is the director of plumbing and electric, which means she's really over just plumbing and electric. But like I said, you were focused on HVAC this weekend because she knows that her shirt still says quality, but she's over all of the plumbing, the plumbers, the electricians, the plumbing dispatcher, the plumbing install coordinator, the plumbing service manager, install teams. And so she's basically like what I say, like the general manager of all of plumbing and electric and making sure that everything's working correctly and chasing.
We haven't been chasing it as much. I was like, I feel like it's just been filling itself out.
Yeah, it does. It's crazy when like all the processes finally just start processing correctly.
And they fall into place. Yeah. Everything that we've done up to this point has created the roadmap for where we're headed this year.
100%.
Yeah. So what does your day-to-day look like?
Well, I start out, make sure the board's aligned, make sure we're going to the right places. We got the right people. Our install team is very awesome. Some of them more efficient at other jobs than like repipes versus sewers. So making sure you get the right one there. We might finish a job early, have time to do something else, which is awesome. I'm very proud of them. But just making sure everyone's doing their part. Everything's moving in motion. We're getting everybody out, get them to the jobs. What do they need help with as far as like, how can we convert for this customer? What's the customer's needs? And then going from there, just ending the day with hopefully we've hit our revenue goal. I always strive for that, and our TGLs to line up rest of the week.
Paying attention to like the next day's calls and that you're lined up. Book. And she's really just like the go-to for anything plumbing and electric to make sure that we just stay focused and lined up. And the change. So I'm really big on immediate changes, and sometimes
she rips the Band-Aid off quick.
100%. There you go.
Yeah, rip the Band-Aid off quick. Immediate changes when something's not working. I don't need to have a meeting about it 4 times to figure out how to fix it. My preference is let's just fix it. And then we just kind of like adapt and mold until it's fixed. Where, a lot of business owners will say, okay, let's meet about this is a problem right now, but let's talk about it next Friday. And then we'll put together a plan. And it's like, no, because now it's still broken for 7 more days.
For 7 more days. And that's one thing that I love about quality. I do have to say, I have that same exact belief. And I love moving quickly on things because the faster you move on them, the faster it gets fixed and the less things that we have to go back and say, oh, well, we spent 7 days doing the wrong thing. We knew it was wrong a week ago. Why are we
doing it?
We don't need to have a meeting about it. We just need to change it.
Just fix it. So we came up with this shift. And how do you feel like that? Because truthfully, this is not our model is not the standard trades model. Our model with directors and then managers is not the standard model. Most companies just have a sales manager or 2, depending on their size, then their service managers, and then an operations manager. And so we've implemented you and Aspen into these 2 roles that then funnel everyone else. That's just different than most. Trust me.
It is different, but I think it works better because you've got the managers in the field, instead of them trying to manage the administrative stuff in the office and the things in the field, you've got executives in the office that are kind of overseeing everything and being able to give direction faster. Like you said, you want to move quickly. Well, if we've got the right managers in the field and we've got, kind of a pseudo, executive that's over that department in the office that's kind of running the board and able to direct that guy, I think it's more efficient. Would you agree?
I agree. I would say it's easier because we can shift quickly if something's not working out. We can make make those moves immediately.
So I was bringing that up because I literally kind of was just, my brain moves quick. Our entire team knows that. And when I've made up my mind, we're going to move it. Like the day that Heather was here actually on site, and I was like, we have to make this change. And I just said, give me 5 minutes. And I just sat here and I like remapped everyone's desks.
You did.
And I was like, you're all moving your desks in about 5 minutes.
Half a day.
And just get ready. And they're like, we're always ready, Cassie, because I've moved them a million times. But I believe in open spaces, collaborating together. And that's not just my belief. That is Quality's belief. Right now, we are gearing up for a move into a bigger facility. And you would not believe, you two will, but I hope people listening, like, don't put your people in offices and behind walls. Even if they think they want that, they don't want that. And
most businesses' online presence is boring. And by being boring, they're losing out on potential sales and customers. Being interesting and exciting is what draws customers in and gets them to buy from you. But it's hard to be interesting online when you're focused on running your business and taking care of your customers. It doesn't have to be this way. We have the key to unlocking the solution to your problem. Key Heart Marketing can help take your business from boring to brilliant on social media. We can vouch for them. They run our podcast socials. If you want to have a strong social media presence that allows customers to know, like, and trust you, connect with Key Heart Marketing at keyheartmarketing.com.
We have open communication all throughout the day.
All of these people in this office have already said, can you please make sure we stay together, that we can still see each other, that we can still face each other? I'm like, yes, girl, yes. Like, absolutely. Yes, we're doing that. That is not like in my new office in the new building. It is 4 walls. And I don't like that. So I'm already having them cut in a window so I can have windows, because I want to be involved. I want to look available, not just look available, like you can see that I'm available to speak with you. But our team collaborates so well together. And so knowing that we're about to move, everyone has already come like, are we still going to stay together? The whole dispatch center, which is where Hannah sits with her team, her dispatcher and her install coordinator. They're like, are we staying together? Absolutely. Like that would be detrimental to us. But when we made that change, boom. And I'm like, you're all moving. There was a few moments of like meltdown.
Yeah.
Maybe not meltdown, but
I feel like it's because we had to learn from challenge and change. That's fine.
That's a Best Buy core value, or it used to be. Learn from challenge and change, which our spinoff of that is be willing to grow. And so I think for a moment, like I said, there was a moment when we moved desks and everything. Not everyone, but it's kind of like, what? And then how's this going to happen? And what? And now on the other side, what's the feedback?
It's awesome. We all work well together and it's not as bad as everyone thought it was going to be.
Yeah. And it wasn't even that the desks were changing. It was previously we had a dispatcher that was in charge of plumbing and a dispatcher that was in charge of HVAC, but they still merged and did both. And we had an install coordinator that did both. And then we had directors that kind of like did everything. And so when we made the switch and we were like, this director, Hannah, is over plumbing and electric. She has a dispatcher. Now, of course, the HVAC dispatcher backs her up if needed, but she knows that she's accountable to this. And even though like going back, we knew we had to find plumbing dispatchers and we knew we had to define HVAC dispatcher.
Yeah, it made it easier for the techs as well.
But even back, 6 months ago, 5 months ago, they were still merging and doing a lot together.
Yeah.
Now the merge is with you, right? And so that change, I don't even know why it was kind of emotional for a minute. It just was, I think, because it was so quick.
Yeah, it was just like for the Band-Aid off, we're going.
Listen, and whenever, right at the exact freaking same time that we did that is whenever I started sending out the surveys, our employee engagement survey.
Oh my gosh, that's right.
And one of the
because
questions,
this wasn't planned. It's like, okay, we're changing the whole office right now. And everybody's like, what?
Yeah. And so one of the questions on the employee engagement survey was change. And I was like, oh, I'm about to get ripped on this one from the office. And we didn't. It came back.
They know how it goes. I mean, when it comes down to it, it's the initial shock of it. And then after you really like do your part and play the role and change everything, it's not bad.
Yeah. Cause I remember in that time too, I was like, what's the difference? Like there was literally like 2 people that had to actually move a desk because most of them were already over there. But it was just a little bit of, I think some of the emotion was the control. Like the plumbing dispatchers now no longer really involved at all in HVAC dispatching, which is really how it should have been.
Mm-hmm.
But like, what do you mean? What do you mean I'm not doing that now? And those were some of the things that I think were harder.
Yeah.
You think?
Yeah,
And
probably.
that's probably just a lack of clarity on what the new expectation is, honestly.
Well,
And as
you
long as
had
we
to
can set the
learn.
stage for
Yeah.
that, it's fine. It's
Mhm.
fine. And I think that, with people getting comfortable being uncomfortable or getting comfortable with change, I mean, that's a big thing that I think a lot of people struggle with. They don't like change. I mean, we're creatures of habit. And so I think getting comfortable with change is really how you can drive growth and further collaboration. You start relying on each other, you work together as a team, you're used to it.
Well, and also they know what's going on where we
Mhm.
had like CSRs in the mix as well, and they don't know what's happening in the day-to-day dispatching. So it just made it easier for the technicians as well.
Yeah. So that's what I was going to ask you. How do you think it's affected the technicians?
I think it's better for them because they know what's happening, and then they have a lifeline basically, and that person's plugged into the day-to-day. So it's not like, oh, I don't know, let me call 4 people to figure out what I need to do with you first.
So previously, like to this day, someone in the building at quality answers the phone until 9 p.m. I think now 7 days a week, even on the weekends now.
Yep.
Okay. So 7 days a week, someone in Glenpool, Oklahoma is answering the phone in this building. But so that meant after 5, when our dispatchers went home, often part-time CSRs were doing that dispatching, and they are amazing and we love them. But that's a lot of pressure for a part-time CSR to go, and they work their full-time job, the majority of them, right, during the day. Then they came and was answering the phones for us, and they're answering inbound calls plus dispatching plus debriefing technicians and trying to manage all of that. And then in the meantime, we're irritating our technicians because they're having to wait.
Customers are having to wait as well.
Had
It's
to
like
wait.
that 5 to 6 window when everyone's getting
Oh
home.
man, the 5 to 6, we were getting our butts handed to us, right? Every time. And we're like, and that's something is like a non-negotiable. Customer service is non-negotiable to me. And you guys know that. Like, get on the phone, answer the phone. The technician can wait. However, we have an obligation to take care of them too. But where we kind of messed up in that time frame was, again, one of those other times where we grew faster than our brains did. We were just like, it's not that busy. Well, yeah, it freaking was.
Yeah.
Like we had grown that quickly. We had grown to the point. So now this CSR, who was wonderful, but she doesn't work in the building all day long. So she really doesn't have a full understanding. And then in the evenings was by herself.
Yeah.
So, which is not how it goes now. Now we have 2 all the time. But again, a different level of, we had to learn.
You're right. And it worked out for the best.
Yeah. And then in the meantime, I was like, moved quick. Debriefing technicians, they're like, you're debriefing yourself now. What? But it's been good.
Yeah. I was going to say the plumbers really love it. They just move on and keep rolling.
And then we spot check them from there. And then if they don't need to have daily check-ins with their person, you shouldn't have to. We used to just debrief everyone after every single call, and that gets annoying for the technician.
Yeah.
But
I think we're micromanaging, even though
it's not. It's just like, you're just making sure you did it, right?
Do we
But
need
now,
to follow up?
Yeah, for sure. So how do you feel about 2025?
I'm excited. I think plumbing's going to do record-breaking things. We
Yeah.
already are.
Hannah's got an agenda set.
I do.
I was just going to say plumbing is doing record-breaking things. We don't think that they're going to. They are.
They are.
We're going to destroy the budget that was amped up. We're going to blow it out the water.
Yeah,
I just got to get electric on the same page.
Electric's coming, but newest department. So that's just how it goes sometimes. But
We'll get it.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you, Hannah. I always think you're one of those stories that inspires me as a leader, because I know some of the pieces that I have in that, but also inspires me to show other people what's capable, because you respectfully,
Anything's possible.
anything is possible. You don't have a college degree, correct? Neither do I. You have positioned yourself, been able to grow in a company and do things that in some ways you probably never thought you were capable of doing.
Right. Oh, I used to always want to be like a CEO when I grew up. I knew I was destined for greatness.
You are destined for greatness. And I think the biggest lesson with you that you taught me was to pay better attention to my people and not just let you stay in the position you were comfortable with.
For sure. Because inventory and warehouse is like a comfort zone for me. But the whole time I've been an operations leader, I've had to push revenue. So it's always been there for me. And being an install manager before I came here, they hit their budget for the first time in a long time, because I was out there driving revenue,
paying attention,
and telling them, hey, we can get some credit cards today. They can buy that new kitchen.
Yeah, right. I never believed that was all. It's crazy. It's like having a relationship with you, a friendship with you. I knew that you were so capable, but like I still kept you in like how capable, how amazing you were going to make the warehouse, you know, because
fair.
like she's so good at that still to this day, even with our current warehouse manager. Like Hannah's like a great resource to her because she's got so much of that experience. And there's a lot of, even though we're not merchandising us for like consumers to come purchase, we should still be merchandising the warehouse to look that way. So it's
like a showroom.
It's shoppable. It's a showroom. It's shoppable for our people, our technicians, right?
Well, and customers sneak in back there sometimes when you're not ready. And
I
you're
know.
like, oh, let me clean this.
Yeah, this needs to look good or whatever. And so you've been such a resource to everyone, or to Shelly and that team now, but also like, I don't know. I just like, I can't believe that I let you stay there and I didn't catch it sooner. But then also I think it's still a good like reminder and lesson to people that you can do anything, and it's not too late to learn something new, and it's not too late to show what you're capable of. Because I'm telling you, in that one meeting, and I'm looking at Hannah like, what do you mean you have this? How have I missed this? What have I done? What, like, you're today, like you are never working in the warehouse again. She had literally, our current warehouse manager, Shelly, was an employee. And so, but she was like a warehouse associate, right?
Yeah.
And she had been here, like maybe 6 months.
Oh, like not very long.
And she had not came from the trades. So she had to learn everything. And it was like, hi. So Hannah's never coming here again.
You're
back here. And you are now going to take care of it all. She's
doing a great job.
She is doing a great job.
But
But
I think, quality provides the resources to learn and grow. And I think that's another big piece too, to focus on. I mean, college education or not, I mean, what is college? It's an education.
Yeah.
So on the job school, what difference does it make? I mean, when you're in it, that's more comprehensive learning than sitting in a classroom.
Amen. And I believe that 100%. But how many times in our life have we been told that we couldn't have executive level positions without it?
And go to school. Yep.
Yeah. You couldn't have that position unless you had this degree. And I don't have a degree, and I'm proud of that. And I'm doing pretty dang well. You know, I think I'm doing okay. But, and not to say that.
I think that's a misnomer. I really do. I don't
is.
think it's necessary. It depends on the drive of the person that is in the position.
I mean, absolutely.
You don't have to be in a classroom. I know when I was in college, I was working, and I think that I absorbed what I learned in college more because I was doing the job while I was in college.
Yeah, I agree with you on that too. I think that it's just, again, just that reminder of don't let those, especially for our generation or anyone's like probably like 30. How old are you?
I'm 35.
35 and above is what I was going to say, right? Anyone 35 and above in that time frame, there was so much that was drilled into us in high school about what we were not going to be able to do
without a college education.
Yeah. And so
and like you're going to be a disappointment to like your family because you didn't go to school, or to other people.
And that is not the narrative now. Thankfully,
No,
I love that
not
our
at all.
kids are getting a different experience. But our generation, that was what. And so in a lot of ways, we held our own selves back because we didn't have that, and we knew it. And so we would just hold ourselves back. And I think it's just a good reminder of there are still a lot of opportunity out here in this world, and getting out there and doing the job and getting the experience is just like irreplaceable.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, it's relatable. If you're in college reading something in a book, it's not relatable. You have nothing to relate it to. I mean, these kids that are going to college and student debt, we know is a big topic of conversation because of our generation. You know, when you're on the job and you're actually learning a concept and actually doing it at the same time, it's going to stick with you. And I think it's honestly a way to move people forward. I know accounting people that I've trained in the past without a degree, as long as they have the right set, I can teach them way faster if they know nothing than if they're trying to apply what they learned 10 years ago to something I'm trying to show them.
Right, for sure.
And a lot of people come out of college and they don't know how to do the on-the-job work. It's like, I went to school for 4 years and now I don't even know how to do what I'm applying for.
Yeah, that happens a lot too, for sure. Absolutely. Well, Hannah, we're so proud of you. We are glad to have the chance to have you on the show to just show the possibilities out there for people, anybody who is in any type of position in any company. You know, just don't leave yourself boxed up. Put yourself out there, learn what you can, and then let people see it.
And also, if you've been at a job a very long time, because I worked at Best Buy for a very long time, and it definitely molded and shaped who I am. in a lot of ways. But also, I think I would always put myself in a box because they would box me a lot as well. And it's like, I have so much more to give and a lot of effort and drive.
Yeah. But that almost same thing happened here.
That's true. But
because that's what I recruited you for, you know, like I kind of beat myself up for that. And I still think timing was everything because
100%.
At that time frame, we didn't need the position that we were able to like literally make and put you in until we needed it.
Yeah.
And so who's to say, like, had we not just posted the position and you might have applied for it at that point, you know, because you would have realized, but don't let yourself like, man, that's such a huge piece of like, don't get stuck of thinking that this is just because, especially with a fast growing company like we are, there's so many things that are constantly coming because who would have thought 4 years ago when you started that we would be here now?
Right.
Not us. Not us. None of us, right? It just came quickly. So anyways, I'm so proud of you. I know Heather is.
I am so proud of you, Hannah. You are such a valuable member of Quality, and I'm just so honored that I get to work with you guys.
Well, thank you.
Well, thank you for being on the show. And I would say, like, let's catch up, but I'm going to see you all day.
I'll be right out her window.
My binocular.
Oh, Lord.
Have we sold anything yet?
Basically. We'll see a sign on the window.
Yeah, put a sign up. Please sell something.
That's real talk.
I love this ending.
But you actually do that.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's real talk.
I love this ending. All right, guys. We'll see you next time.
This has been Power Women of the Trades. Like what you hear so far? Leave us a review in Apple. And make sure to listen to our other episodes wherever you enjoy listening to your podcasts. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one.